Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. And we are live, Edina. Thanks for
Hi,
being here. Welcome,
thank you. I'm
welcome,
so
welcome.
excited.
Yes. So, thank you, Edina. What Adina's going to be doing is interviewing me on Pellowah Healing. Adina is a does consulting and also has her own podcast called Into the Light. So, in regards to me teaching the workshop this weekend in Petaluma, and also Edina is in Berkeley, California as well. So she's just down the road, and she's going to be talking and asking me questions about Pellowah. So fire
Yes.
away, Edina. What would you like to know about Pellowah healing?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Linda. I'm so excited to get to dig into this because I know, we first met a couple, like, what was it, about a month ago, 11/11, and you're here in California, and I got to hear about all the amazing work that you do, not only in Australia, but also, your background being here in the Bay Area and this workshop that you've been building up towards for a couple weeks. And I just think it's a perfect time for me to understand and like kind of hear firsthand what the Pellowah healing modality really is. Because I know that I've tuned into a lot of your, some of your content, and you're talking about burnout and bringing balance to your life, and some of your personal story of healing yourself and healing, helping others, in the coaching process and in the healing process. So yeah, what is the Pellowah healing method specifically, and where did that term come from, and how did what did you really create here with this modality?
Okay, so Pallua is an angelic word for a radical shift in consciousness, because that's
Oh, I love that.
exactly what it does. It shifts consciousness. Now, the founder of Pallua is an Australian who I met back in 2004, and it had just resonated with me. She'd been doing it for years, and then Spirit said, "You have to start teaching this because the consciousness of the people on the planet are now ready for it." Well, that was 20 years ago, and I've been teaching it for the last 20 years. But when I started talking about, shifting consciousness, expanding awareness, and connecting all 12 strands of DNA, people just went, "You're from another planet,
Right.
that's really woo woo." Whereas in the last few years, so many people have awakened and they're looking for spiritual tools, especially tools to accelerate the personal and spiritual growth. And so especially in 2023, this year, so many humans have awakened. So this is a pivotal time on the planet at this time. Huge awakenings for
Hmm.
humanity. And the Pallowah is more of an enlightenment modality, even though it's called Pallowah healing. The healing part is secondary. And so it's more about the shifting of consciousness,
Mm.
and then the physical body will take care of itself.
Mm.
So as a body worker for many years, many decades, I was working on people's body and doing the body work, energy work, and healing work, because I'm also a Reiki master. And
Hmm.
people would come with different pain in their body. But each time they saw me, they've recreated the pain,
Right, right.
and they'd walk out feeling fabulous, and then they'd come back and go, "Oh, that back pain's back," or that, "I've got my
Oh
sore
yeah.
knee," or whatever.
And then they
And
think it
then
doesn't work.
um that they always felt fantastic after, but it was like,
Yeah.
right, okay, let's go deeper
Yeah,
into
yeah.
what is going on in their psychic. And that's when I started going more deeper into the somatic and more of the psychic surgery and more of
Hmm.
my intuitive gifts. But what the Palawa did is strengthen all my other modalities. and just lift me up more intuitively. So then I would channel these profound messages for clients as well. And I still do. And so over the 20 years, I've been teaching workshops throughout Australia, and I also brought it to America in 2005. And
Mm.
so I've been traveling back and forth to America teaching the Pellowah. And then in 2010, I actually moved here and I lived here for 7 years. And and I thought that there would be more people who really got it, but I was surprised there was only, when I'd give a presentation, there was only very small pockets of people who really understood the power of what I was talking about and how this could actually help them to completely change their whole life, completely change their everything that they were doing in their life, make clear choices and decisions, take charge of their life, create their own reality, have this, when you expand awareness, you're expanding your unlimited imagination. So when it comes to goals and setting your intentions on what you want, it's like your mind is unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the power of it, but also tapping in when you're coming from this expanded awareness, it's like you just know, you have this strong inner knowing when it comes to making choices and decisions for your highest good and destiny. And so this was just the tip of the iceberg. I went, wow, here's a tool that can help so many people. And but when I was living here, yes, I taught workshops, but there was only small little pockets that really got it and ran with it and saw the power of it.
Mm.
So, and then I went back to Australia and I'm still been teaching it. But this weekend, I'm actually teaching in Petaluma, California, which is just north of San Francisco, in the Sonoma County. And so it's for those that are ready to either to expand and accelerate their own personal and spiritual growth, or for those that are already a therapist and they want to add another modality to their list of skills.
Yeah,
And so
that's amazing.
that's though there's a lot of different healing modalities out there. But the difference with Palawa, it's 100% pure
Okay.
energy. So
What does
all
that mean?
healing is directly from source, okay? And
Okay.
it comes from source down through our crown chakra, down through our filters. And as a practitioner, whatever we're going through personally, and then and this is why it's really important to do your own maintenance and cleansing and clearing, and make sure that you're a pure channel, especially when
Yeah.
you're doing healing work on others. And and so with other healers or healing modalities, what can come out of your hands can be contaminated. And this is where, when you go to different healers and they make up stories, oh, I saw this vision, or do you have this problem, or I saw this and this, or whatever. Well, that may or may not necessarily be true. And so this is where you have to use your own discernment. Does that resonate with me? Don't just take what they're saying as gospel. And and so an example of this, when this is many years ago, Katrina actually went to a healer and she was on the table, and the guy said to her, oh, you were sexually abused by your father at 4. And I mean, she tuned in and went, no, that's not true,
Mm.
and just disregarded it.
Wow.
Well, it was years later that she was talking to someone that she also knew, and said, oh, yes, such and such went and saw that guy, and he was told the same, he told her the same story. So, and up until then, she had a really beautiful relationship with her father. After this guy said that to her, she stopped talking to him. He passed and never knew why his daughter stopped talking to him. And it
Wow.
wasn't even true. So this is why it's so important to use your discernment and who you go to. Um,
Right. Yeah, very important.
One of the reasons I love the Pellowah is it's 100% pure energy direct from source, which means it's like a glass cylinder direct from source. And just say you're laying on the table, and it's like I'm being directed by the energy, and the glass cylinder's just moving across your body, being directed wherever the access point is to go into your body. And
Wow.
there's no judgment, there's no stories, there's no ego. If the ego comes in, it will stop. The energy will stop. And so that's one of the other, as a practitioner, we don't make up stories, we don't get any visuals, we don't get any messages, nothing. It's between you and spirit. It's got nothing to do with us. We're holding the space and really just being directed by the energy and holding the
Wow.
space during them. So that's one of the reasons why I love it, opposed to some other modalities that
Yeah.
require the
And
ego to come in.
yeah, and even like talk therapy is difficult. People can go on for 10 years with a therapist or something. Sometimes we goes on and on, right? When you're verbalizing and having to relive those traumas, and it can create, places where we're still stuck, right? And you need that kind of extra level, maybe of like energy work, or something beyond just talk therapy, and moving into these very important areas to do, like, clearing and energy, work specifically. So it sounds like it's not really verbal, but you're basically training therapists. So maybe that, let's say a therapist already has, their clients, or maybe they're interested in doing some more like holistic healing modalities, or like you mentioned, Reiki. So would you recommend this for someone who is looking, because I know the training is in person, it's 2 days, and then you also get like a certification. So is it very, like, is that who you basically think, really should be taking this training, is people who are, working on their clients currently, and they're looking for new ways to kind of, bring healing modalities to their work?
Well, that's one of the areas of, people who are wanting to upgrade their skills, but
Yeah.
also for them personally, upgrading their own personal and spiritual growth. Because once you've got these attunements, you've got them for life. The
Mm,
other difference between Reiki and Pellowah is that Reiki is very much focused on the symbols.
okay.
Okay. Pellowah is focused on the attunements, because
Mm,
I can do an attunement in 5 minutes, which is equivalent to 100 healings.
wow. Is this like is it frequency and sound? Like, what is the rate that it's
It's a
accelerated?
transfer of energy,
Mm,
okay, direct from source.
mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned about talk therapy. Talk therapy is one way of looking at it. But when there's trauma and deep seated trauma, that's where you need to go to the root cause. But depending on the trauma, you may have to very gently, lovingly, kindly, move into that area. Um, but then there's ways of actually just pulling it apart and
Mm,
dismantling that, where you remove all the energy from whatever it is, and then it's completely dissolved.
wow.
So yes, there's ways, because I'm also an NLP master as well,
Oh, okay.
or in hypnotherapy. So you can use the mind, but I also include a lot of energy work and healing work at the same time that I'm working with different clients to actually dissolve the trauma, which is
Mhm.
held in the body or held in the mind. But most of it, it's beliefs and old programs and these patterns,
Yeah, and repeat
um
patterns.
and 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 it's just stuck energy, and because we're all energy, we can transmute it.
Mm,
So, and with my clients, I empower them to take their power back, and they're in control of healing their own body and empowering them to shift the energy. So I actually teach my clients how to do that
oh, good.
quickly, easily, right there in the moment.
Amazing.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, back to the Pellowah, the workshop is level 1 on one day, which is
Okay.
Saturday, and level 2 on Sunday. Now it's a follow on. Once you do level 1, well, the next day is level 2. You can't just jump in and do level 2. You have to do level 1. Level 1's attunement allows you to actually become a practitioner of Palawa and be able to give a healing. Now, the other thing is you can't give a healing to yourself. You have to swap with another student. So,
Mhm.
again, because it's non ego based, if you were giving yourself a healing and just say your hand started vibrating at your heart center,
Mm,
automatically your mind would say, oh, that's right, I must be still healing, some grief or some betrayal from some ex relationship, whatever.
yeah.
The mind wants to create a story, but it's not necessarily true. So, this is why you can't give the Palawa healing to yourself. You can give Reiki to yourself, and you can
Mm,
always, put your hands on your heart and, give yourself any kind of healing, but not the Palawa healing.
wow. How
So,
how pop how popular is the Pellowah healing method? Like I know you mentioned in the beginning you originally brought it to the States couple like 10 years ago or something. But is it something that's like 20 years? Yeah. 20 even, yeah, it's very long. So how wide, like how popular of a modality is it? And it sounds like it's, now throughout the world and whatnot. But yeah, it sounds like, I mean, certainly more people should be aware of it and be tapping into these ways of healing. But yeah, how kind of
it's
widespread is this
it's
practice?
still really, really new in
Mhm.
America, and I've been teaching it since 2005. In 2006, I traveled from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I did many presentations, taught many different workshops. So there is students scattered across the country,
Hmm.
though in comparison to the population, very
Yeah.
small. Yeah.
Right, right.
There's a lady in the UK that's been teaching over there, and so I spend a lot of time here in the US, and that's why I'm promoting it and teaching here in the US.
Hmm.
And also for those that are living in other states, just reach out to me and we can have a chat about organizing, myself to come and teach a workshop in whatever city that you're living in. I am speaking to someone in New York, so that's a possibility in the future where I will go there and teach a workshop.
Mm.
I do require a minimum of 10 people, and that's the
Yeah.
max as well. Ma- Max
Yeah,
of,
you need like a certain group size, 10, like up to 10
well,
people.
it's because I've got to individually do the attunements,
Mm.
and 10 having 10 people, 10 attunements, well, that's pretty much, takes up a lot of time. And yeah, So no more than 10 people at a time.
Right. And I
Mm.
imagine that, people who are doing maybe like currently Reiki, like Reiki practitioners, that seems pretty common, or, certain energy workers, things like that, body work. So it sounds like the way that people are going to start learning more and more about this is if they are, adding it as they're, adding on to kind of different services. If they're currently having, clients doing Reiki, you can introduce them to new ways. Is the Pellowah healing, is it part of like using quantum energy or quantum, like, do people have to learn about all of that stuff too in this process, or do you
No,
consider it like, quantum healing or anything like that? No.
no, it's kind of a league of its own.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, they're all very similar,
Yeah.
because it's all coming from source, but Palawa is like, it's a completely different energy. Reiki is more earth-based, whereas
Okay.
Palawa is more esoteric, more cosmic, you
Right.
know. Yeah, it's just a higher vibration.
Wow.
And when people feel it, so here's an example. Many years ago, I was teaching a workshop, and the student was doing the Palawa, and it was coming to an end. And she felt like, oh, I have to keep doing something. So then she started doing Reiki. Luckily, on the person on the table was aware enough to go, yep, the healing's come to an end. But she felt the difference of when the Palawa stopped and when the Reiki started.
Wow.
So that was in Arizona, because I've taught in Sedona and Cottonwood area on many different times. And yeah, so that particular lady could
Like you can
feel the
feel the
difference.
difference. Yeah, that's amazing. And it
Yeah.
sounds like, yeah, it's powerful. So do you have to be in person? Because I know I've talked to quantum energy healers and some of that stuff. They do it remote now. People don't need to be physically present. It sounds like being physically present though for this, at least, especially for the training and the certificate program, is really
Only
important.
for the actual workshop to receive a healing. I can do healings anywhere around the world. They
Right.
can be done by distance. Is exactly the same. But for
Hmm.
the actual workshop, because I'm physically giving the person the attunement, well then yes, at this stage it has to be done in person. I know some people do the Reiki attunement, over like online, but and I've heard mixed reports on this. And yes, but it's just not the same. Yes, you may receive it, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, it's really, sounds like a great opportunity that you're at least here near my area in the Bay Area in person, and wherever you go, it's a great opportunity to actually, get this in person and the training and the certification program. So, yeah, I mean, I know certain people I'm going to send this a little recording to after, who I've been talking to, who might even be local and willing to, do that. I actually just met a therapist the other day who was one of my kids' friends' parents. So, yeah, definitely. She was actually talking about moving into, anyone moving into more holistic healing, kind of moving into that energy work direction. And, I wanted to talk a little bit about the way that it taps into, the shifting of consciousness. You mentioned that in the beginning. You said this is really an enlightenment modality, and it focuses on that shifting in consciousness, expanding awareness, also connecting to our 12 strands of DNA. So yeah, how does that really work? Like what is so important with this, focus on consciousness
So
awakening?
if you can imagine a house and it's got 12 rooms, Well, scientists for many years said that humans only have two DNA, and that's all humans have been operating from.
Wow.
Really dumbed down, right?
Okay.
And if you've seen the movie Lucy, this is a beautiful example of how to really upgrade your consciousness. You know,
Wow.
dolphins and whales operate at 20% consciousness.
Hmm.
Humans are less than 10%.
Wow. There's like a measuring stick for our...
So, so if you can imagine the house with 12 rooms, what with the Pellowah, what it's doing is connecting and wiring up. The electrician is wiring up all 12 rooms, and with the attunement and with the healing, your job is to turn on the light switches. And then when you turn on all those light switches, you realize how unlimited and multidimensional you truly are and how powerful you really are, and that's where the unlimited imagination comes in. This is where you take charge of your life. This is where you make clear choices and decisions. This is where you just step into your life in such a big way. There, you're unstoppable, you're fearless. There, it's like you are unlimited.
Mm.
And all the drama and everything else that's been consuming you and taking up your energy just disappears because you're not focused on it anymore. You're
Mm.
you're less involved in all the negativity, you're less involved in all the drama and all of that low vibration stuff and people's whinging and pettiness and things like that, because you're creating your life. You're creating your whole new reality on where you choose to go. And you're focusing just on the positive things in your life, the positive people and the positive friends and the positive situations and circumstances in your life. So that's what you're focused on. And of course, you're going to get more of that. And so
Mm.
that's where everything else that is low vibration just falls by the wayside because it's got no room in your life anymore. That's the expansion.
Right.
That's the shift in consciousness. You see life through different eyes. Your
Yes.
whole perspective, your whole outlook on life has completely changed
Yes.
to the better.
Amazing.
It's
Yeah.
always the positive, and you don't have to go through the big traumatic cathartic breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. It's always positive, positive moving forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of us have experienced these, yeah, in the awakening process. It's like you have to go through the shedding away of, things that are kind of holding you back. And a lot of times, I mean, that opens up into like a lot of different transformations in life, right? We might have to lose relationships or people shed away who are friends or, problematic energies that are maybe negative that are kind of holding us back in our ascension process or whatever that might be. So that's really powerful because so much of this work is based off of getting out of this stuck kind of limited patterning behavior that we're in. Especially, I know in your work you're dealing with a lot of people who might be having like corporate burnout or stress at work, just a lot of burnout right now in the world. Everyone is just dealing with way too much. So, that's really important that we focus on a way to get this done, you know, quickly and efficiently as possible, right?
Absolutely. And now's the time. Like I said, 2023 has been a massive awakening on the
Yeah.
planet for humanity. And now the next couple of years, really, really critical. So this is your opportunity. Jump on that rocket ship because it's like we're all in this together, and it's about mass awakening,
Right.
mass consciousness, because we are all one and
Yes.
we're
Yes.
all helping each other.
Yeah.
So it's like there's just more and more light workers and pioneers leading the way for the others to follow now. And
Yeah,
so it's easier because there's more paths of light, and it's easy to follow. So
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I definitely we're all talking about this kind of global consciousness awakening. I mean, I think that that's, a lot of people are kind of clicking online and becoming aware and really focused on this elevating their consciousness and doing the work. And of course, it all leads back into so much, of our internalized, I don't know, trauma or issues or things that we're holding into our system and, all of that. So what kind of transformation? I know you said that people walk out and they have like amazing experiences, and sometimes, maybe they come back couple months later, things might not be, they might be reattaching to certain negative energies along the way. But what kind of transformation do you see, like, with your clients who are doing these sessions, and like where do people end up like leaving and having these experiences?
It's always positive. I mean, the shifts, like there was a one of my students who came and did the workshop, and I'd never met her before, but then a couple of months later, because each time I go to different cities, I do other more attunements for my previous students. And
Mm,
so this particular man went, wow, this lady has changed so much. And I said, well, in what way? Because I never knew her before. And he said, oh, well, anytime that she'd come to a workshop before, she would leave straight away. She wouldn't talk to anyone, and she certainly wouldn't hug anyone. Well, the lady I knew from my workshop, she was dancing, she was happy, she was always so bubbly and friendly. And anyway, and I said to her, have you noticed, any changes? Like, do you feel different in yourself? And she went, oh wow, because it's so subtle. She hadn't actually put two and two together, but she was actually so joyful and choosing, to go away on holidays and go on trips around the world and things that she hadn't actually done before.
mm,
Excuse me. And then also with a work situation, hang on, I'll just get some water.
yeah.
Um, there was a conflict in the workplace where this lady was having problems with her boss. And in the healing, what happened, she saw her boss just fade away into the background. And then when she went back to her work, her boss wasn't in her face giving her a hard time anymore. It's like she literally left her alone, and that completely changed the work situation. Some people do the workshop just to give healing to their kids.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
like you don't have to be a therapist, but you've always got that attunement, and you're
Yeah.
always able to give a healing. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned like the visualization process, and I know when we talk about, law of attraction or our visualization and, things like that. So is this part of the process in this healing to do, certain visualization activity as well while you're being, treated, or what happens in
Not
these sessions?
during the healing, because
Okay.
that's the
That's your
ego
ego
coming
brain.
in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So during the healing, it's just 100% pure energy that you're receiving. But it's the after effects, that the ahas, the insights, the information, the profound messages come through. And this will all unfold in everyday life, when people that normally trigger you,
Mm.
it's like all of a sudden you're going, I just love you. I'm not reacting. I'm not going to, even get upset. And you're more neutral. Like I said, you're less involved in all the drama out there. And triggers, personal triggers, is a really good test to see where you're at. So
Right.
when you can just be at peace within yourself and not be bothered by the external world or by that work colleague or by that situation or by someone cutting you off in traffic or whatever it is, when normally you react and all this emotion comes out, you're going, oh, they must be in a hurry. Okay, come on through. Or, oh, like you just respond more lovingly instead of going, and reacting.
Yeah. Right, right. It's like everything, like you said, changes, everything changes and upgrades in your life, or at least has the potential to do so. And, so many of us are dealing with our triggers right now. It's kind of a hot button word and, you know, putting emphasis on regulation, like regulating our responses and things like that. I mean, people talk a lot about that in the, healing communities about regulating our nervous system being really critical to a lot of this work. And yeah, so I think it sounds like certainly like a lot of breakthrough possibilities, ways that we can achieve our, our best life. And, I definitely think that this is a great way to bring in that energy work, like you said, without interference from the ego, because certainly like I think that's what we all want. Like we want to be in tune with like direct from source. And you mentioned this the ways that it kind of brings you into alignment. I would say like that sounds like really important, connecting you directly, being feel like you're in a more balanced state, right? Is that how you would describe it? Just being in connection to source, or having this energy come in your daily life versus more negativity.
Absolutely, because in level 2, you learn 7 symbols. These are symbols that you can use on a daily basis just to keep upgrading, your human conscious operating system. And you can use those symbols and keep practicing them in order to protect yourself on a daily basis, to bring in that energy or that empowerment or whatever you need. Because also in the workshop, you learn different exercises, and we also learn about the Merkaba, which is the light body
Yeah.
we all have within us. So, and you can travel in your light body, or if there's, you learn about the chakras, like eh, we touch on a few different areas, but the whole workshop is focused on the Pellowah, but we do bring in a few other different aspects to the workshop. And then that last attunement that you receive on level 2, when you open your eyes at the end, your eyes are different. You are a different person. So you're
Wow.
looking at life through different eyes.
Yeah, I
It's
was
an amazing upgrade. Like it is such a fast and just huge upgrade.
Wow. Yeah, I was recently talking to someone about the concept of Merkaba. I mean, I'm newer to this. I come from like a Muslim background, so other people are asking me questions sometimes, and I have to kind of just, you know, say what I know, kind of thing. But what is this? What is it? What when you talk about the Merkaba or the light body, like, can you tell me a little bit about why that's so important and what, what in this process to be, focused on that level of energy work around that we're kind of surrounded by.
Well, we all have a Merkaba and this light. It's see it as like a bathysphere. This light body within us. We have. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. You have a Merkaba, but it just changes. You either have a female Merkaba or a male Merkaba. We're
Mm.
born with this. And that is our light body. But this is our light body that allows us to travel to other dimensions, other galaxies, while still being anchored here on the earth. So
Yeah.
it allows us to travel and come back and still then be here and operate on this earth.
Wow.
Which,
Yeah, it's like you hear about like astral travel or astral projecting out of, is that's basically when you're tapped into using these like higher level
using
consciousness and whatever sleeps, you could be like sleeping or just basically leave your body, right? And have some control over that, right?
yeah, though there's always different aspects, like part of, so you and I are talking here right now, but then there's another part of us that's on another planet or another galaxy. So this is where you're a multi-dimensional being.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so everyone can astral travel.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, are you conscious of doing it?
Right, right, right.
And
It's
this is where it's important to, log your dreams, keep a dream journal.
right. Well, and I also understand like we have to, in order to be in this more, I guess flow state or connected with source, we do have to do a lot of healing work. Like what do a lot of times, for example, people are having, distortions between, masculine and feminine energies in their own self. Like for me, I know in my healing journey, so much of my focus is on, my wounded feminine wounds and all of that work happening. So does this also really put you in alignment with a lot of those balancing issues, like maybe between our left brain and right brain? We have all kinds of distortions that we're working through as far as, masculine and feminine or logic and emotion. What does this really do for aligning that into being in a more balanced state?
I would say keep it simple and only focus on what brings you joy.
Okay.
Because focusing on all that other,
Yeah.
whatever you just mentioned, that just like, whoa, that that's a lot of confusion
It's all
for
in my
me.
head. Yeah, it's like all jumbled around in there.
Yes, and so I just focus on what makes you feel good, and also, you know what doesn't feel good, and then drop the rest. We all have anchor points. We all have those shadow aspects of ourselves, or those parts of ourselves that maybe, it's not our best parts, but it makes up who we are. But embrace that. Don't
Mm,
try and get rid of it. If you try and get rid of it, the universe will just give you something else to keep you grounded here. So
totally.
we all have those parts. No one's perfect, but just embrace it. But no one's broken. And I think this is where there's so many different words and different things, out there, that people are getting caught up in that, oh, I have to, keep doing this work and this work on myself,
Yeah.
and I'm so broken, and then, this, it's like, no, keep it simple. And that's one of the things I love about Palo. It is powerful, but so simple. Keep it simple, and just listen to your inner guidance, follow your feelings. What feels good, great, go with that. If it doesn't feel good, stay away from it. Focus on what brings you joy,
Right,
and
right.
then
And
make the
also, yeah,
choices based on that.
and being able to let go of things, like I guess in a loving vibration, right? Like not, rather than being, angry and resentful, just focusing on holding that with, love, I guess, is what we want to try and do, right? We want to try and be able to
Forgiveness.
be in that
Forgi-
state.
Forgiveness for others, and just have a love and compassion for where they're at,
Right. That's such a
because
key.
everyone's doing the best they can with what they've got, and 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 be the example for others to follow.
Right. Yeah, so many of us, like I certainly, it's like everyone feels a little bit broken right now. I feel, we're like, and we're putting out that messaging in our relationships. Oh, you're the broken one, or I'm the broken, I feel like right now it's just, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of distortions in the collective. And what do you say to someone right now who is feeling just really confused or broken, or maybe even overwhelmed? Like there's so much out there that we could, oh, I should be doing that, or I could be doing this. Like what do you say to someone who's just feeling really in that state of confusion over all of this stuff right now?
And that's the energy. The energy has been very intense. So it's bringing up all this stuff. And it's bringing up relationship challenges, and it's bringing up a lot of overwhelm and confusion and uh, distortion, and because it's all mental stuff, right? Whereas, and I spoke about this earlier on my Magical Monday. Come back to your spiritual practice, come back to stillness, come back to your meditation practice, breath work, just sitting and breathing quietly. Get out of your head into your heart and just sit and breathe. Connect with nature, go for a walk, just admire the beauty outside in nature. And there's
Mm,
so much, we are surrounded by so much beauty, but how many people actually stop and appreciate the change in the leaves, or that flower that's growing in between the bricks, like this beautiful little flower that just comes up, that's, it's like, wow, how beautiful. Like
yeah.
Mother Nature just comes through shining so much beauty in everywhere we go. But how many times do we stop and appreciate the beauty that we're surrounded with?
Yeah.
Because it's like, when people are just caught up in their head, they're just so busy stomping over that little flower on the ground that they don't have time to even stop and look, or even admire or acknowledge it. So
Right.
just stop, slow down, breathe, come back into your heart, and just have a gratitude list.
Mm.
Write down everything that you're grateful for. Go out and just walk in nature and just rattle off everything you're grateful for, and
Yeah.
just keep repeating your I am statements.
Yes, yes. Or like journal. I mean, so many tools like journaling or like affirmations or visualizations. I was listening to someone, she's like, you have to have like, all of the visualizations kind of, to stay in that state, to look back on, like when we're journaling or writing out, everything that we
Or
want
not,
to bring,
or not. You
no?
don't have to do anything. Just
You
drop
know,
all the rules and just keep it simple.
I know, oh my gosh. Well, what about like every day? Because I noticed earlier on the Monday, you even, just finding, I guess, your daily spiritual practices or keeping yourself in that state. I mean, how important is that, like when you're working with your clients, to really focus on, something, it might be different for everyone, right? I guess we can all find what we gravitate towards, but what I really liked about your work and things when I've tuned in is just that focus that we do create a certain spiritual practice and connection, and that is very important versus someone who doesn't want to focus on any of this at all. They just start avoiding it altogether.
Well, and I know a couple of people that say they're depressed, but I
Right.
also notice that they're not doing anything for themselves to shift out of that. Their first thing that they're on is, one of these, and they're just on social media all day.
Right.
And so how is that uplifting you or helping your spiritual practice. So get away from all devices and just sit and breathe. Go out into the sunshine and just, stare at the sun, and, you can do sun gazing. And then that's a great way of, sitting and journaling while you're sitting there out in the garden or somewhere in nature.
Mhm.
Going for a walk, breathing, deep belly breaths, stimulating that vagus nerve will help to reduce any stress and change your state of mind, because you're getting into your parasympathetic nervous system. So there's so many tools that are free, and it's just a matter of doing it.
Awesome.
and
Yeah.
and and consistently doing it. And it's so simple. You don't have to get some fancy journal. You can just buy a school exercise book with lines and start writing out, I'm so grateful and thankful for da da da. Or write your journal on how you're feeling. I woke up today fantastic, it's a beautiful day, or I had this dream, or, write about whatever is coming up, or I just got off the phone to such and such, and I'm feeling upset because this came up. And the more you journal on it, and the more you put your emotions and feelings on paper, the writing part is really critical, because you're engaging so many reflexes plus your brain by writing. And
Mhm.
that's a very powerful process in itself. So that's why it's so important to write out your goals, write in your journal. I've been journaling for, I'm giving away my age now, but yeah,
A
a good
long time.
40 years. So I've, yeah, and all my travels around the world, I always kept a diary and wrote in
Wow.
it every single day.
That's amazing. That's like very disciplined. I respect you for that, because I was the type of kid I would have like, a new journal book. I journal now and I write this book. But it would be like 2 pages, and then, the whole thing would be, I wouldn't do it after that. So yeah, it's it's definitely great to build like consistency, and then, really get the results that you're looking for when you're, in your manifestation or your journaling process,
Mm,
or clearing out whatever's coming through. And I love what
mm,
you talked about with nature, because I've also been prescribed getting into nature more, like taking these moments of stillness in the sun, or spending time just in the yard. Even gardening, like, doing things in my yard. I try and, do a little bit every day now. I'm like, trying to water my plants more for this reason.
mm.
Because I know me, I have a corporate background, and I feel like I definitely went through like a major burnout last year, and had issues at work, all the things, right? And so
Mm.
that's when I started really incorporating that. And even though things have gotten harder or easier in some ways, but at least I feel more balanced, having implemented a lot of what you're talking about. So I really resonate with that.
Beautiful. It
Yeah.
makes such a difference in your overall wellness and your whole your whole outlook on life, because
Mm,
you're actually lifting up your energy vibration, therefore you're attracting more positive things into your life because you're feeling better.
mm,
And everything that you speak about and think, that also is an energy vibration. So any conversation that you're having with someone, well, be aware of what words are coming out of your mouth. What stories
definitely.
are you talking about to other people?
Right. Because like writing, the words are also very powerful, even more energetically powerful some ways, when you're using words either for good, or for, or for bad, right? Or for, things that are bringing us more maybe negative energy. So I always like to think about, just being self-aware all the, a lot of these practices, I believe from a spiritual perspective, that's the goal, right? Is to be, more self-aware and introspective at every moment, and like you were saying earlier, more regulated and less triggered, and when we're going along in this process, or whatever whatever goals we're working towards in our manifesting or our ascension process. So yeah, I love that. And I think this Pellowah healing training sounds amazing. I'm so excited that you're here and offering this to people locally and in the Bay Area. So definitely, I want to promote it. I want to help spread the word. And where can people find more information about you, Linda, when you're do you have a website for this? I know you have your personal website. Where do people go to find you and follow along if they want to get in touch with you about that?
So, yeah, my main website is lindabenn.com, LINDABENN. And I'm on all the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, TikTok. I've got a two Facebook business pages, and my other business page is Peak Performance Employees, which is more
Mm,
focused on the corporate.
yeah, I
And
love
then
that.
I've also got my Facebook group, which is the Ben Method with Linda, because the Ben Method is my own method of balance, energy, nurture, and nourish. And that's an acronym for my last name.
Hmm.
And so people can either book a call with me via my website or send me a direct message on social media on either platform, and then we can set up a call. So yeah,
Perfect.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I love
here
that.
until next Monday, in the Bay Area, and then I fly back to Australia.
Okay. Yeah, you here for about what, another week or so before you
Like
go
one
back
more
to.
week.
Oh!
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, great. Well, I'm so glad we got to connect and do this. Yeah, and I think you've been here. How long have you been traveling now? A couple, like 2, 3 weeks,
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Mhm.
That's a long
Yeah.
trip, girl. You got to get back home.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So
Amazing.
it's gone quickly. I've covered many miles while I've been here.
Yeah, I keep
Um,
losing track. You were in San Jose for a while, and now you're back up north, and you're doing all the
mhm.
stops.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Well,
Yes.
thank you, Linda. I'm so glad I got to interview you for this opportunity to learn more about the Pellowah method. And I
My
know
pleasure.
I'm now like realizing that this is definitely something I should look into. I would love to connect and maybe even attend on the weekend. I know you guys got a few people coming in, and you want to
Mhm.
get people in pairs. And so yeah, definitely let's coordinate, because I know a couple people whom I might even reach out to. Right? Maybe we can go over to Petaluma for a couple days.
Absolutely. It'll be so much fun. I've got someone flying up from LA for this workshop.
Oh, amazing.
And so, yeah, there's people from all over and coming. So,
I
yeah, would
love
love
it.
to have you, Edina.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love
So,
it.
thank you so much for your time today, and it's been lovely to get together and share with
Yeah,
you today.
totally. I love it so much, and I think this is great stuff. So yeah, I send me the recording too, and we can even send out the replay to a few people who might be interested, and then
Mm,
just go from there. And then also connect when you're back in Australia. Maybe we can have our podcast episode. I have my
yes,
YouTube channel, Into the Light, and we talk all about the ascension process, law of attraction. I'm interviewing all kinds of different healers, coaches, practitioners, and of all different modalities and different spiritual traditions. So
yeah,
I definitely
beautiful.
love all of this stuff. I feel like I learn something new every day. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yay.
Thank you, Adina, and thanks everyone for watching, and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.